Okay, so now we're going to do this standing up, and I want you to experience the same exact sensation as you did when you were doing your sit-up. So here's your whole abdominal cavity. My rib cage is already expanded. I haven't collapsed, so I didn't take my breath taking my breath like a normal breath and then collapsing it like I would normally do if I'm running or doing some sort of exercise. Again, my spine is not tipped. I'm not moving to side. I'm not leaning over or leaning backwards. I'm standing straight up. And my rib cage is expanded. It's called rib cage expansion. And you can see my abdominal cavity here. And I'm going to take a breath. Here's my breath. Here's my exhale. Here's my breath. Here's my exhale. Now we're going to do the same scale. Allah. Now relaxation response. Allah. Now remember, once I'm off that top note, I did not let go of the breath. I stayed in it to the end, and then I relax. Actually, as I'm almost at the end of the scale, I start to relax. Allah. Relax, breath. Allah. Relax, breath. Notice my ribs. I'm not huffing from my chest. My chest isn't going in and out. Allah. And there's a lot of strength in that abdomen, okay? Now, I'm going to include one more thing to this, which is also very important. Yes, there's the diaphragm. Yes, there's the whole solar plexus. Yes, there's the whole abdominal cavity. Yes, there's the second diaphragm from down below. You'll kind of feel it in the pelvic muscles down here. There's also a muscle, or a series of muscles, but it's a big muscle called the transverse abdominis. Transverse abdominis. And it runs through, kind of goes underneath or in between and under your diaphragm, and it runs through the core of your body, in through your back and down your spine. Now, what's really kind of crazy about this is if I'm looking at you this way, I'll do it again. I'm actually feeling this sensation through my back, through the core of my back, kind of almost in my kidneys, down through my sciatica, my spinal column, all the way down in my buttocks. And I can feel almost like I'm like a kite that's kind of expanding, or, an expanding sensation. So I feel this expanding sensation, and as I kind of do this, it expands, and then I kind of push down. So, like I have all this strength in my back. Now, there's a big fallacy that's roaming around the internet where I take my buttocks and I contract them and I make everything tense, and I'm going to stand there and hold my ground. I'm going to push into the ground and I'm going to do all this stuff. That's not correct. In fact, I would say that's a lie from the pit of hell. We don't do that. We're not looking to have any tension at all. In fact, we're only looking for core strength to relax the chest, the neck, and the throat. So this core strength is, again, the engine that drives our car. It does all of our work for us. So again, let's do a couple more really quickly from the bottom. And I would not recommend wearing a belt or using my hands to do my work for me. We want the freedom to do it on its own. We don't want to add to a false sense of support. That's not right. Next one. Allah. Again. Allah. Again. Notice my chest isn't expanding and contracting. It's staying in an expanded state. Allah. Now, I'm going to get into the amount of controlling the breath. And this is going to be part 3 and 4 of the diaphragmatic lesson, is that I'm not using up so much of my air. I'm not going and running out of air. I'm actually conserving my air, kind of like I'm holding my breath when I talk, or like if I'm underwater and I'm talking, or it's actually called glottal compression. I'm going to get into this more later, but it's really important to understand that I'm not using up too much air for lots of reasons. I'm not losing control of the breath, and I'm not allowing too much air to pass across the vocal folds, cords, to dry them out. So, okay, let's move on.